Bonjour and welcome to France. During this presentation, we will discuss France's pestle model. France is a northwestern country in Europe, bordered by Belgium, Luxembourg, Germany, Switzerland, Italy, Spain, and Andorra. France is Europe's most important agricultural producer and is one of the leading industrial powers of the world. France's capital, Paris, is the largest city and is an important commercial and cultural center. France covers more than 248,000 square miles and is slightly smaller than the state of Texas. The population of France is currently over 65 million. France's government is similar to the United States government and is a republic and has a constitution. There are three branches to the government. The executive branch has a president, which is the head of the state, and there are also a council of ministers and a prime minister. The legislative branch consists of the French Parliament, which can be broken down into two houses, the National Assembly and the Senate. The Minister of Justice makes up the judicial branch and is very independent from the executive and legislative branches. According to the World Bank, France's rule of law is just above 1.4, which indicates that France has a strong rule of law and abides by the rules of society. The political stability of France is showing a downward trend and is at a 0.27. France's corruption index is on the cleaner side and is ranked number 23 out of 176 countries. France is a free country with a freedom rating of 1. According to the Freedom House, France has a political rating of 1, which indicates that the people have strong rights. Civil liberties is also rated at a 1, so people are allowed more freedom of expression, beliefs, and individual rights.
France has a mixed economic system, having aspects of both capitalism and socialism. Its economy is the seventh largest in the world. Trade is a huge contributor to France's GDP. Exports and imports combined account for over 60%. If you look at the inflation chart, it is apparent that between the years 2006 and 2016, the overall trend is negative. The most notable change by both France and the U.S. was in 2009. France's inflation rate decreased by about 3%, and the U.S. inflation rate decreased by about 4%. Both returned to a normal inflation rate in 2011. France's inflation rate has steadily decreased since then, only increasing slightly in the last year. In comparison to the U.S., France's inflation rate seemed more steady than the U.S., which had a slight increase in 2014 and a rather significant increase in 2016. Germany has remained France's top trading partner between the years 2000 and 2016. However, in the year 2000, the U.S. was France's fifth top trading partner and is now ranked at second. France's exports to the U.S. have increased by about 80% in the last 16 years, whereas Spain, who has remained in third place, only increased by 24%. Now that we have considered with whom France is trading, we should consider what France is trading. In the year 2000, France's top export were vehicles, but in 2016, vehicles were ranked third behind industrial machinery and aircraft. This could be a result of France's growing foreign direct investment. It is probably more efficient to produce the cars outside of the country than to manufacture and export them. Pharmaceutical products remain prevalent not only in France's exports but economy as a whole. In 2014, Forbes named a French pharmaceutical company third largest in the whole world. If you consider France and the United States foreign direct investment as a whole, France seems to have a steadier overall decrease, whereas the U.S. has many more ups and downs. Take, for instance, the inflows and outflows charts. There are no notable trends in France's data except for the drop around 2009 in outflows and the drop in 2007 in inflows. These decreases are a direct result of the recession that they experienced in 2008. Compare this to the U.S., whose data is less steady and shows many more drastic increases and decreases. While France shows more stability, the U.S. has had higher inflow and outflow values at each point from the years 2005 and 2016. Now we take a look at a measure of economic growth, gross domestic product. Both France and the U.S. took major hits in 2007, leaving them at their lowest point in 2009 at negative 3%. Both countries made their recovery in 2010, but unlike the U.S., France had another significant decrease in 2012. France has still not fully recovered to the position they were in 2006. If you look at gross national income per capita, France and the U.S. have very similar trends, but on average, France's GNI is 28% higher. Both countries experienced decreases in the year 2008 and have steadily increased since. Similar positive trends, but the U.S. is between 2 and 3 points ahead of France. HDI considers factors such as income, schooling, and life expectancy at birth. You would think that since France had a higher GNI, which is also dependent on net income, that they would have had a higher HDI too. However, the U.S.'s high HDI score is most likely attributable to its stronger emphasis on schooling. Relative to this is the measure of economic freedom. The U.S. on average appears to be more economically free. France experienced a slight increase in 2008 and fluctuates between a score of 63 and 65 until 2017. The U.S., on the other hand, starts relatively high at a score of 82 and has a major decrease in 2009 and steadily decreases until 2017. Historically, the euro has been a pretty steady currency in comparison to the yen. Between 2010 and 2014, France's translation adjustment increased by 0.033 and the yen decreased by 0.777. From 2014 to 2017, the euro increased even more by 0.207 and the yen also increased by 0.848. All in all, the yen experiences more drastic increases and decreases in translation adjustment than the euro does.
There are many different areas in the socio-culture of France. To begin with, the ethnic groups in France are first and foremost French, which is 92%, Arab North African, which is 4%, German, which is 2%, and Breton, 1%, along with Catalan, which is another 1%. The religion in France is mainly Roman Catholic, reigning at 85%, along with Muslim, as 8%, Protestant 2%, Jewish 1%, and 4% of the population remains unaffiliated. The languages spoken in France is obviously the main one being French, along with Arabic, Occitan, Breton, Catalan, Basque, Italian, Flemish, and German. French and Arabic are the two main ones, and the others are different dialects that are spoken in France. In socioculture, there are a lot of cultural dimensions that Hofstede explains. France versus America in indulgence, USA seems to be higher in indulgence. France is higher in long-term orientation. France is also higher in uncertainty avoidance. The USA reigns higher in masculinity and individualism, as France remains higher in the power distance. The PISA student performance of 2015, France versus USA, France seems to be the same in the reading category, along with the average in both science and reading. Math is a little lower in France than it is in the USA, and and then the HDI index for France is 0.897 with their rank being at 21. Their life expectancy is 82.4 years. Years of schooling is 16.3. Gross national income is 30,085, and their population is 64.4 million. As for the USA, the index is at 0.920, their rank being number 10. Life expectancy is a little lower at 79.2 years. Their year of schooling is almost the same, being at 16.5 years. Gross national income much higher at 52,245, and the population also, because of the size of the U.S., is much, much larger, which is 321.8 million.
Inventions like the refrigerator, mayonnaise, the hairdryer, and the Braille system are all thanks to the great country of France and its inventors. However true this may be, scientific and technical journal articles lack in the country of France, as the U.S. trumps them with over 400,000 on average. This proves to be true again by looking at the patent applications. France in this category lacks, while again they are trumped by the United States. However, because France is one of the world leaders in nuclear power, they do receive a large R&D expenditure, only 0.5 away from the United States per year. Another important topic is the environment. A few environmental indicators in France are agriculture and water, tying with the U.S. This is because agriculture is such a big market in France, as well as the water issues because of the nuclear waste. Lastly, the Environmental Performance Index is a lot higher in France, meaning that they have scored better than the United States.